Alright, what is up everybody? It's Lids and we are back for some more Mardek, and we of course made our way into the Serpent's Cave in the last episode, and just barely got the chance to explore it a bit here. We're gonna see if we can pick up some of the loot that we saw, but we're not able to pick up in the previous go-round. We also, of course, did find ourselves nearly having an entire party wipe to a rogue fairy, and you know, I would say that was a little bit embarrassing, but at the same time, like I was saying before, those guys, they're tough. They're no joke. But anyways, of course, right now, we are making our way through this cave and seeing exactly what is on the other side, picking up that loot, like I was saying. As for Ellie here, I suppose we could, increase the damage of magical attacks, continue working on that. And Solar, we were typically using physical attacks with you, right? Like against the Tweeds, I think was the general idea, because they don't have very strong physical defenses, and if you crit, that'll certainly be enough. As for the cave fish, probably okay if you target Mardek. He can take it. Other people, maybe a little bit less so. Now, of course, we would kind of like to use Whirlpool, because Gloria does still need to master that, however, probably not the best enemies to do it against. No water once. If we feel like we're fairly confident that these guys do not pose much of a threat to us, then this might be a good opportunity to throw that on. Say, put it on someone like Elwyn, who we want to make sure does not get hit again. Give her a little bit of extra protection, so like with the other null abilities, it means that if she were to get hit by a water elemental attack or spell, it would deal 0 damage to her, at least for one go-round. Then it would go away and we'd have to reapply it. Okay, Mardek here. I think we just take one of these guys out with you, probably the one with the most HP. Not a problem. And let's just actively use Runic Rhapsody here to keep that going and also get closer to mastering it. So Lara, if we wanted to get really clever, we could also use this as an opportunity to use Spirit Craft. Maybe make Elwian's playing a little bit stronger. However, it still doesn't deal damage directly, so I think let's maybe wait to do that. Ooh, except it's not enough to take this guy out, which is a tad concerning. Does mean that, well, we have another turn for everyone before it goes again, so maybe all the more reason to continue to use some skills that we feel like we just want to get closer to mastering, even if they aren't accelerating the rate at which we take out this cavefish here. Mardek, I suppose, you probably have the least things that we need to master, so maybe we just take this opportunity to heal with you. Same thing. Elwyn, keep using that Runic Rhapsody. Solar, attempt number 2. I was going to say, if you missed, maybe you would have taken attempt number 3, and that would not have looked very good. Okay, more fish scales. We, of course, have the amount that we need in order to use the create the underwater breathing potion. So this switch here, of course, got rid of that little bridge that would have allowed us to cross over here, which I believe is technically the way into the next area of this cave. We will need to go back to flip this again. However, we want to leave this as is for the moment, because that means that we will have access to that trophy room of sorts with, I think it was 3 chests, so I'm hoping that some of the stuff in there is worthwhile. At the very least, we get the closure of knowing that we managed to get those chests. Ooh, silencing Elwian. I'm not sure. She, of course, I was gonna say, she did use the ability that allowed her to play music, and then for a moment there, it looked like she was still playing it, even after she got silenced, but it looks like it did ultimately end up getting canceled. I was like, did we technically already do it, and so we can just pass every turn and it's still active? Doesn't seem like that's the case. And okay, for Gloria, probably do want to make a point of dealing some damage here, rather than getting clever and using a null water or something of that sort. Fortunately, people missing Elwian. Mardek, you can take the damage. No worries, you'll be fine. Let's take out the Tweed, though, because that's going to be a little bit tougher to get, and I don't know what I was doing with that reaction there. Not even close. And so, Elwian is silenced, which of course means that she cannot use any of those songs. Would be an opportunity to attack with her. She does technically have an offensive reaction with this weapon that we've only tried to use ever so briefly in. 200 damage, or nearly 200 damage, is not bad, to tell you the truth. That's pretty significant, actually. Solar does do more than that, but not that much more. And Gloria, Could even whack this guy with Gloria's staff. Not sure if she needs to use any physical reactions. She might, but I'm less confident that she can deal much damage because at one point she was using her Earth Staff, which I'm assuming is probably Earth Elemental, but this Trilobite Staff here I believe is Water, so that's not going to be helpful. Let's just use a Razor Leaf in that case, which will definitely be enough. Okay, and Liquid Sound is helpful because, well, we've seen plenty of these silences, including that one right there, and to tell you the truth, we probably didn't need to use that there because we are, of course, going to now walk past the save crystal. So we could have healed there and saved the item. Not that they're particularly valuable, in that I think they cost something on the order of about 100 gold pieces each, but we don't have very many in our inventory at the moment, so we could use them just for the sake of having them on hand. Now, this is the area. You see the chest there in the top right corner. Of course, we will have to go through these cave fish first. They seem like, of the enemies we've run into here, they're, I'd argue, maybe the most straightforward. Do not deal enough damage to take him out that time, but inflict a poison, fortunately. Okay, but if you could maybe, like, leave Elwian alone, that would be preferable. And could even heal with Gloria? Maybe not. She's probably still better off using a Razor Leaf here, because she can, of course, attack multiple people at once, whereas Mardek cannot. So it probably makes more sense to heal with Mardek instead, which we can do right here. Or, of course, we could opt to directly attack with Mardek, which probably does make more sense, because Elwian, sure, you can use Runic Rhapsody, which will make spells stronger, yes, but you're not going to take anyone out on your turn, and Solar, likewise, can only attack one person at a time. So it does mean that by not taking someone out with Mardek, one of the fish did get an extra turn here. So, technically speaking, we probably should have waited to heal, but so be it. We'll take this guy out, no less. Okay. More fish scales as well. But most of all, we now get access to this area here. And, well, more fish scales. Anything else of note? Lesser Rainbow Shirt. We'll have to check that out. It's a rather psychedelically fabulous-looking garment, worn more for its protection against all manner of elements than for its looks. Okay, protection against elements, that sounds very significant to me. It is, of course, a lesser Rainbow Shirt, so maybe not quite as good, but we were also talking about needing a bunch of Liquid Sound. We certainly got some there. That was a stack of 10, and it probably does make sense for us to split that stack a little bit, not put all 10 of those with Gloria, just in case we find that other people are of need. So let's see. Gloria, at this rate, has 4. 4 for Solar. Elwian already had 1. Let's make sure she has at least 3, and we spare at least some Liquid Sound. For Mardek, yeah, you could probably use at least 1 more. Let's swipe it from Gloria, I suppose. Okay. So in that case, we're a little bit safer on that front. There is also this switch here, which I believe opens up this chest down here, or these series of chests, so similar story. Again, we probably should have preemptively done that in anticipation of going over in this direction, rather than having to go back and forth so much, but now we know. Okay, more cavefish. Shouldn't be too tough here, like we were saying before. Assuming that we attack in the right order, then we should be fine. Solar, unfortunately, still unable to take one of them out in one turn. Fortunately, does choose to attack someone with 100% water resistance, though. Oh, and we did not check out the Rainbow Shirt, but let's make a point of doing that at the end of this battle. So with Mardek, we're not going to heal this time, even though Solar and or Gloria could probably use it. Let's instead attack someone who has full HP, and we can still take him out with Mardek. That is why he's so valuable. Gloria, then you should be able to take out at least one of these guys, but Solar should be more than capable of finishing off the last one here before it gets a chance to take another turn. That is the difference. It's assuming that Solar doesn't miss, and fortunately, Solar did not do that. Okay. Great. So we'll also stop by the save crystal, of course, as we continue to make our way back over this way. That way, we don't have to worry about healing or running out of MP quite as much. So we are using skills pretty aggressively here. Lots of axolotls. Have we actually seen 3 axolotls in one fight before? Maybe once or twice, but this could be comparatively more difficult. So is Runic Rhapsody still the route we want to go here? I suppose it does still power up Gloria, and she is quite powerful with her Razor Leaf, so maybe that's reason enough. I don't necessarily think she can take these guys out in one hit, even with Elwian's support. So with Solar, let's attack the one with the most HP. That should put that one in striking range. Other ones, unlikely, I think, for Gloria to be able to take him out. Yeah, not the case. And if you, like, say, don't attack Solar, or at least use spells that Solar can outright mitigate, then that would be preferable. Same thing here, I think. Mardek, let's focus on taking these guys out, rather than healing up here. Of course, after this fight, we will want to heal, but... Okay, so, now... keep on Runic Rhapsodying. And with all this Runic Rhapsody stuff, Elwian is actually rather close to mastering that. Poison should be enough to take out that axolotl there. In fact, I think I'm confident enough in that we could, in fact, sneak in a physical attack. Whoa! Okay, I'm sorry, Gloria. You dealt way more damage than I thought you were going to deal. And we got a bone axe for it as well. I'm curious how much those are worth, because we, of course, have picked up our fair share of them at this point, and would probably see fit to sell several of them. And is that a significant amount of coinage we might get from it, or not so much? Okay, so these chests here. A rune shield. This is, I believe, one of the shields that we can craft at the blacksmith in Xantusia, or it's very similar looking to one that we can craft there. But we get one here without having to craft it, so that's convenient at the very least. We also haven't made one yet, so this is our first time actually getting one. It's a wooden shield engraved with magical runes. It's not too useful against physical strikes, but it wards magic quite well. Okay, that's definitely worth a closer look as well. Phoenix Down is solid, and... okay, Mardek is the only person who has Phoenix Down right now. That is definitely an issue. In Aquamarine, I think we have picked up one of these already, and it's in someone else's inventory / in our item storage at the moment. But oh, that's actually 3 of them. And I think that is also one of the items that we need to make that underwater breathing potion. So, let's take a look at some of the items that we've recently picked up. Most notably, I think we want to look at the lesser rainbow shirt, which is clothing with 6 defense and 3 magic defense. Despite being clothing and being a lesser rainbow shirt, that sounds pretty solid. It has Rainbow Aura level 1, which is a passive skill. We'll have to take a close look at exactly what that does. Hard to say from just this name here. And then a little bit of resistances across the board. So that is interesting. In fact, that is something that, say if someone has mastered all their skills already on their current chestplate, might be worth throwing that on. Mardek has done just that. Anyone else? Elwian has too? Oh, we should have changed this out a long time ago. I think that Mardek, this might have been recent, but Elwian, I think we have no shortage of things to put on for you. And Gloria, you're not done yet, so I think the answer is definitely hold off on Gloria. Elwian, I feel like you probably have not yet mastered this. The Resist Dark, you have not. And similarly for Mardek, of course, you have not yet mastered this Rainbow Aura level 1. So let's take a closer look and see exactly what that is and determine is this something we want to prioritize putting on Mardek first, or maybe Elwian instead. It costs 10 RP, so it is a lot. That might be reason enough right there for it to be a Mardek skill. It increases resistance to the natural, moral, and spiritual elements by 20%. All of them. So in that way, it is not as powerful at any one given element as, say, a dedicated Resist Earth, or Resist Water, or Resist Dark that we're going to see on Elwian in a second. However, it covers a lot of your bases here, so if you're feeling like you just want to get a little bit across the board, then this is the best way to do that. In addition to, of course, we saw that the item itself gives a little bit of resistances for all the elements as well. So, combine those things together, and that's not bad at all. definitely. So, however, like we were saying, it does cost 10 RP, which is a reasonable sum. So, if we want to try to work on it now, then we would, of course, need to get rid of some things. Easiest swap would be to get rid of double AP and throw on Rainbow Aura instead. Double AP is the skill that's coming from the Evening Star that we put on not so long ago, and it takes a long time to master, but it's the one that gives the ability to learn skills at twice the usual rate, so it is a meta skill of sorts that is helpful for this very set of circumstances. If we wanted to master Rainbow Aura level 1 as quickly as possible, then being able to put both these on simultaneously would be ideal. However, on this occasion, maybe we sacrifice double AP, at least for the time being, until we get Rainbow Aura level 1 done, because it's going to be a while before we're done with double AP, or until Mardek gets up to the point where he has 20 RP in, he can equip both simultaneously. That probably would be even longer still. Let's take a closer look at other options we have here, because I feel like, given how we saw that there were several skills that people could have swapped over, or items that they could have swapped over to learn new skills, feels like we might be a little bit behind here. Or maybe it was more so on the item side that we needed to swap things over, less so on the skills. So here we see Elwian has mastered plus 10% HP, and I believe, yeah, previously we were talking about how we would want to put on Resist Ether at some point, but given how she has low HP to begin with, throwing that on is nice, and having to get rid of it to put on Resist Ether is a tough pill to swallow, and would be, of course, a similar story for Resist Dark. Also, probably a reasonable reason to start with the Dark Jacket on someone other than her, because she'll be working on Resist Ether for a while. So, I think for that reason, why don't we start to do Resist Ether? Because I think that as soon as Gloria is done with her chestplate, or any of a number of other people who are done with their chestplates, they might want to swap on that Dark Jacket, whereas I think that the miscellaneous item that is giving us the Ether resistance is a little bit easier to swap in and out. So, Solar or anything for you, you are also working on Resist Ether, but you're partway there, so that's good to see. Other than that, you didn't quite master one of your defensive reactions, but for the most part, you're looking pretty good here. No glaring things that we need to put on, and as for Gloria, yes, we definitely should have Resist Water on, especially in here where we're expecting to see a lot of water damage. Okay, that looks much better. So definitely a good thing that we picked those up, and we will need to flip that switch again in order to actually get across this bridge. Okay, we're back to the 3 axolotls, and we should have healed up Solar in between fights, but after doing all that equipping items and skills, got a little bit distracted, perhaps. So Solar, you could heal yourself, which is maybe not the worst idea, just to play it safe. And now watch the axolotls all target Solar, and it doesn't even matter that we heal him. Might end up being the case, but hopefully not. Razor Leaf will, of course, deal damage, but not enough to take any out. And fortunately, at least the first one targets Mardek, but hold on. Okay. Fortunately, I did not predict the future on that occasion. For a moment there, I was worried. But let's, again, focus on dealing the damages with Mardek. And then, assuming that we remember to heal after the fight, then that is probably still the best time to do that. When we're not under the time pressure of having some enemies breathing down our necks. So, Solar, let's still attack. I think for the most part, yeah, you've been dealing that much damage pretty consistently, so no worries there. And I suppose the axolotl is going next, so no opportunities here to, say, squeeze in an extra skill that we might want to get close to mastering with Gloria. More bone axes. All the more reason why it would be fantastic if those turn out to be a really valuable item for us. So here, we flip this switch again. Now we have one half of the bridge. We'll have to go back around, flip this switch to get the blue part primed and ready to go. And then we will finally be able to go into the next room. And maybe we'll find even more valuable chests there. I mean, I think it was definitely worthwhile for us to make a point of picking those things up, because those were some pretty great items. Okay, so previously I was talking about how It seemed like we had not seen this setup before, and now it seems as though we're getting it every time. And also, I did, again, forget to heal in between fights. So again, we'll dedicate Solar to doing that right now. Not a huge concern, I suppose, but it does, of course, still take one turn away from Solar, who would otherwise be able to deal some damage. And second axolotl again targets Solar. There we see that now that we have equipped the magic water resistance for spells on Gloria, she actually heals when enemies use water spells against her. So that's great to see. And then Elvian, just a couple more uses here, and then you are done with that setup, mastering that skill. So that'd be great. And Solar, I suppose it doesn't make a huge difference as to who you attack here. Gloria will still have the opportunity to go after you before the next axolotl goes, so no worries about one still having the chance to take a turn and deal damage to you. Hold on. Gloria, do you have enough damage? I'm actually not sure that you do. It's gonna be close. It is not enough damage. Fortunately, that axolotl decides not to target Solar, otherwise we would have been in trouble there. Got off the hook a bit. Now let's make a point of healing Solar after this fight. Even more of a point than we have in the past, because apparently that wasn't enough for me to remember. So, this time around, there. Make sure to do it. And we will finally head on over, like I was saying. And I don't recall as to how big this area is. So we'll see that those green doors are, of course, locked again, because we have reflipped that switch. Now we have flipped the blue one, and so our bridge is complete. So we're ready to go there, and just remind me, what is the actual correct route for going down said bridge? Okay, it's been a while since we've seen these bats, actually. I think they might be some of the easiest enemies here, because they are, at least individually, quite weak. However, they are also quite resistant to earth damage, if I remember correctly. So Solar, yeah, it's gonna have some trouble taking these guys out, but other than that, just about everyone else should be able to do it. And what does that mean for Elwian here? I suppose still use Runic Rhapsody and gives you the opportunity to master that. So that's great. As for what Solar does, maybe it's swap back over to Solar Flare, or perhaps Spirit Craft, increase Gloria's damage. I think we should be pretty confident that even without that, she would still have the opportunity to take these guys out, but just in case she didn't have enough damage, and she does not, I did not look at how much magic defense these guys have, but apparently it was somewhat high, because they mitigated a fair amount of the damage. It's only 10, which is not a ton, but yeah, I'm a little surprised. I would have thought that Gloria would have dealt enough damage. So that does mean that just about all of them are going to have the chance to go again, outside of whichever one Mardek takes out here, assuming that he is able to do so. Okay, certainly can. But they do get 3 turns. But I suppose, for the most part, they're fairly weak attacks when they aren't poisoning people. Laura Sturge might actually have enough damage here to take them all out on their next turn, so that's our safety net. And then Solar, I mean, if we're just trying to get an offensive reaction out of you, which I think we might still be, we're very close to mastering it. But this is not going to deal any damage. Let's just do it for the sake of getting another one in there, and we fortunately did inflict the poison, so that might make a difference. And then Whirlpool, I think it might take everyone out, maybe outside the one with 134 HP. Is everyone down? One of them is up with 2 HP. It is not the one that is poisoned, so we will still need to damage it here, and Mardek can do that. Okay, and a Batwing is a little party favor. And yes, there is the offensive reaction with Solar and, as we saw, Elwian mastering Runic Rhapsody. So, that's good to see. Oh, and before we forget, again, we do have business to attend to here. Let's get rid of Elwian's poison. Is it worth healing Solar and or Elwian? I think they still have enough HP that that's not a terrible concern at this point. Again, we are going to walk by that save crystal one more time. So, at the very least, we can do it here. And now, we head to the right, and then when we have the second fork, we'll go over to the left, and that will take us across the bridge. and so we don't have reason to use Runic Rhapsody for mastering the skill. Is it our preference in terms of its raw power in this fight? It might still be, because it will help Gloria, and Gloria is our primary damage dealer here, so I suppose we can still go that route. And it might also mean that I think Elwian might have one more song that she still has the ability to learn here. We'll need to swap over which sheet of music she's using. So let's take a look at that next time around. And for Solar here, likewise, you no longer need to use an attack here to master your offensive reaction. However, it does still seem like that's probably a good fit, since that is your only way of dealing earth damage, and that is going to be particularly effective against these guys. So maybe we target the one with the most HP. And of course, they respond by attacking Solar. Okay, now Gloria, if you Razor Leaf, and you at least take out the one that we targeted with Solar, the answer appears to be yes, which means only one Axolotl will go here, and fortunately, targets Gloria, who, as we established previously, can actually heal from that. Mardek, let's have you deal some damage. As for who we ought to deal damage to, I think the answer is actually one of the fish, because they will go next, even though they have lower HP. This will prevent them from taking another turn, because then that allows Elwian to just continue doing what she's doing. Could even swap over to something else if we wanted to, but I suppose we can stick with the Runic Rhapsody. Then Solar, you take out the Cavefish. Then Gloria will go before the Axolotl. And yeah, I think we just play it simple here. Take him out that way. No time for anything special. More bone axes. I heard someone wanted bone axes. I've got plenty. Don't you worry. So here is our bridge, which we will now cross and make our way into the next area of this cave. And what exactly lies on this side here? Not clear. There are no signs of chests, so I don't know if that means this is a smaller area or what exactly. But we'll loop around, and there are still enemies in here, of course. Purely Tweeds. And now that we're going against these guys who have high magic defense, might that be reason for us to deliberately go a different route? With Elwian, I feel like it might be. This might be a good fit for Dolores Dirge. They don't have a ton of HP, so we could probably get rid of roughly half of it with that skill there. And then Solar, if you were to say attack the one with the most HP, then you can take it out in one hit, so that definitely works. Silencing Gloria is not great. The bubble for 12 damage, I'll live with that. Gloria, that does of course mean that you can't use any spells here, but we actually saw that you can deal a ton of damage with your physical attacks, assuming I hit the reaction, because otherwise, oh, she has Soul Strike with her physical attacks, assuming we hit the reaction, which is what was turning it into Earth, which is why it dealt so much damage. That time, just barely missed the reaction. Her staff is Water Elemental, so if we don't hit the reaction, it's going to be Water Elemental, and we saw that that Tweed actually healed. However, Mardek should be more than capable of taking it out. And then Solar, I assume, could be able to do the same on their turn. So, yes, no problem in that case. And some mana berries as well, and Liquid Sound, which we might proceed to use right now, because I do believe we'll find that, yes, Gloria is still silenced right now, so who has the most of these at the moment? Solar has 4. Yes, Solar with 4 is the answer. So let's get rid of that, because that would of course be a problem if our primary spellcaster can't cast spells. That's probably not a good thing. Okay, and this little river is leading over here. It's a little bit, I don't know, dramatic, I suppose. Okay, if these rat bats continue to miss, that'd be great. I didn't actually expect that to happen, but nice little bonus. And I was thinking Dolores Dirge because of the rat bats. However, I think that getting some extra damage to take out the Axolotl would have also been useful, so maybe instead going for the spell support option might have been better. However, if Gloria were to say, target a Razor Leaf specifically against the Axolotl, should definitely be enough damage. However, remember that if we were to split that across everyone of our opponents, then that would mean that we're dealing a little bit less damage per person, as well as rat bats just wouldn't take any damage at all, so that's not so great with their 100% earth resistance. we should probably either prioritize just the axolotl or go Whirlpool and attack everyone this way. It will heal the axolotl, but it will deal some damage to the rat bats. I think let's probably go axolotl first because it does have some damage on it already. Then Mardek, you should be able to take out a rat bat. Dolores Sturge is not going to do enough damage to single-handedly get this last one here. So, Solar and or others, you are still needed here. And I suppose, yeah, we can still keep Dolores Sturge up. That is helping. And Solar Flare actually would be the better way to deal damage, because of course your physical attacks are Earth Elemental now. Or we could opt to go Spirit Craft, which in fact is rather tempting because you are of course still looking to master that. And it will make Dolores Sturge more powerful. However, I'm assuming that Gloria will be able to handle things here. However, last time we saw that wasn't so much the case. Only targeting one enemy this time rather than multiple though, so able to deal enough damage to take it out. And we get a Water Essence from that, no less. That's good to see. And what is the deal here? Do we have any further signs on the map as to what we're doing? It looks like a snaking pattern almost, which I suppose is maybe fitting given how this is the Serpent's lair, but should I be reading into that at all? Let's go with Runic Rhapsody here. Again, the thought there being that more than anything, we're going to want to try to maximize Gloria's damage. And Solar, say you attack one of these guys with mid-600s in terms of HP. And Gloria, you're definitely going Razor Leaf here. However, not enough damage to take anyone out. It's a tad concerning because, oh my god, Solar's down. Poison was enough to take out one of the axolotls, but Solar, I did not realize you were that low. I suppose you probably did get damaged at the last fight, and I did not remember to heal you in between, which, my bad. No worries, though. We will, of course, heal Solar in between fights this time, because it will be a fair bit more obvious that Solar is in need of some of said healing. We can probably go back over to Dolores Sturge. Won't be enough damage single-handedly to take this guy out, but if we use a physical attack and actually hit the reaction, that should do the trick. I don't remember necessarily if Gloria does, in fact, have an offensive reaction, but it seems like when that is an option for us to go that route, then we might as well give it a shot, just to see. Okay, heal. Right now. Solar. Solar needs it. Gloria arguably kind of sort of needs it, but maybe we can pass. And yeah, what I was saying is this is starting to wind around quite a bit. I don't know. I'm suspicious. So let's keep on moving and, hold on. There's a save crystal here as well. Okay, take the hint. Take the hint. Let's save. You know what that means, right? I'm sure you do. So, we head up here, we will find... Oh! I think it's the Serpent.
A jolly good hello to you there, stranger who is invading my lair. I say, it's mighty rude of you to go and do that, old chap. I suppose you're here for my magnificent crest, eh? To sell it to poachers, or use it in a brew, perhaps? Alas, I suppose I'm going to have to brutally slaughter and devour you, old sport, because I don't want to part with the old headpiece. Nothing personal, mind.
I mean, it is, like, part of you, so in that way it is very much personal, but point taken. Yeah! That is a humongous serpent, and that is a lot of water damage. So, if you guys remember, a little ways back, I was making a point of putting on items like water pendants, sapphire bangles, water pendants, and other water-resistant items, so this may or may not have been the reason why. Might have been anticipating this fight. But anyways, how do we want to target this guy? The Serpent. It has 12,000 HP, which might be more than any enemy we've fought thus far. It has 40 attacks, so it of course used a spell in the previous turn. However, I would expect that if it were to use a physical attack, it would deal a lot of damage. 14 defense is pretty high, and 0 magic defense, so that would suggest that the way to go is ideally using magic spells against it, and preferably of the earth variety. If not, air would be okay. Water, obviously, not a good idea against a water serpent. It has the tiniest little bit of poison resistance. However, Solar using the 70% poison chance that they have on their physical attacks, that might be a reasonable opportunity as well to deal some damage. So, with that in mind, do we want to do Runic Rhapsody? I feel like that might be the way to go, because that will, again, maximize Gloria's damage, which I think in the long run is probably more effective than the little bit of damage we'll get from Dolores Dirge. So let's go this route. And Solar, like I was saying, I think we will want to try to inflict the poison, and then maybe once we do, we might want to try to Spirit Craft on someone else to raise their spirit, either Elwian or Gloria, because in either case, that would ultimately feed into boosting Gloria's damage. Of course, if we give Gloria additional spirit, that directly empowers her. However, if we boost Elwian's spirit, it makes her song more powerful, which in turn makes Gloria's spells more powerful. So, either way, I think let's wait a little while longer. Hopefully we manage to inflict the poison very quickly, and not the first turn, so that is unfortunate. But I suppose, at least for now, that doesn't change too much. Gloria will, of course, still use Razor Leaf, which is the primary way in which I'm expecting for us to deal damage. It still is only a little over 500, in which case, there's a chance Mardek might actually deal more damage. Do we want to, with Mardek, deliberately make a point of, say, putting on shields and or magic shields in case we're concerned about this Serpent's damage? I feel like that might not be a bad idea. We have several characters in our party right now, basically everyone other than Mardek is pretty squishy here, besides the whole very high water resistance component. Is there anyone who very much does not have that? Solar has 50%, however, I do think has the magic defensive reaction for an additional 50, so that might not be so bad on you. Elwian, I think, has 90% resistance, however, does not have the magic defensive reaction. So this is just 90 and not actually 100. So better than Solar for physical attacks, but worse than Solar for magical attacks. Whereas Mardek only has 30 water resistance, however, of course, has higher HP, better defense, and possibly better magic defense. Not entirely sure about that one. But, who would we want to put one of these shields on, and which kind of shield would we prefer to put? I think the answer is definitely a physical shield, and I'm thinking Solar because physical attacks against Solar is probably the type of attack that would deal the most damage to us, because, again, Solar has 50 water resistance, but that's only 50 against physical attacks, whereas for magical attacks, it goes all the way up to 100, assuming we hit our reaction. So, let's do that here, I think. Oh, except I put on a magic one, which was not the point. Okay, yeah, so the Serpent just one-shot Gloria, which, as I was saying previously, was supposed to be the person who was going to deal the vast majority of our damage, so that may have just completely messed up our strategy. Elwian, you know, you supporting magic spells is maybe not terribly significant if there's no one to use those magic spells, so did we swap over any of those Phoenix Downs? Previously, we were talking about how we had a ton on Mardek, but none on anyone else, and we were saying we really should do something about that, but I don't think we did. We have a Phoenix Pinion, which is actually a more powerful version, would fully restore Gloria's HP when we bring her back, which is obviously better, but do we feel like we need to invest that heavily? We could wait for Mardek to take his turn to bring Gloria back. However, that would mean that Gloria would miss her turn, because she would normally go before Mardek, and then as soon as Mardek revives Gloria on his turn, Serpent would go again and maybe just proceed to do exactly what he did to take out Gloria. So, I think that we do use the Phoenix Pinion here. I don't love it. It does, of course, mean that in future turns, Elwian will not have any items with which to revive allies, so we will have far less flexibility going forward. That makes me nervous, but I suppose, yeah, let's do it anyway. I am very conflicted about it, but sure. And for Solar, do we want to change the strategy with you at all? Do we still want to try to inflict that poison? I think that is still a good route to go, because poisons will deal damage based on a certain percentage of our enemy's total HP, and with an enemy with this much HP, that's going to be a big difference maker. Might actually deal more damage than any of our skills directly would deal. And there is the poison. Okay, so nice. Now we can shift gears more with Solar and focus more on, say, using that Spirit Craft to boost people's spirit. As for Gloria, you could also go the defensive route and either use Bark Skin to give bonus defense to people, Or you could even use null water once to make it so that people don't take any damage from water hits. For one go-round, it seems like water's not the huge problem, though. I'm pretty sure that that attack that one-shot Gloria was actually a plain physical elemental attack. So, for that reason, I think you stick with the damage here. We can focus more on the support with others, but Gloria, you need to be the one dealing the damages. And Mardek, let's put on the shield. The physical shield this time, not magical, and might we want to make a point of making sure that we get Gloria instead of Solar, because now Solar has done the primary thing we want Solar to do, that being inflicting the poison. Water spells, no problem. You want to do that every turn, that is fine with me. That would be preferable, in fact. Let's keep the Runic Rhapsody going. And Solar, now I think we do shift gears. We Spirit Craft. As for who it's more effective to Spirit Craft on, Elwian or Gloria, Elwian technically is making everyone's spells more effective, whereas boosting Gloria's Spirit is only boosting Gloria, of course. That means that if Solar were to start using spells themselves, then Solar would also benefit from boosting Elwian here. Might that be reason enough to prioritize going Elwian instead of Gloria? Maybe. I'm guessing it's probably not quite as much in terms of the amount of damage we would gain relative to boosting Gloria directly, but gives us a little bit more versatility. And there we see, yes, the damage is definitely getting higher, so that is good to see. And Mardek, I think you continue to build up the physical shields. Put it on Solar as well. Elwian's probably next on the list. Those poisons dealing a lot of damage. Tsunami, perfectly alright. Keep on doing it, it's fine by me. Mardek is actually taking a fair share of damage here because, as we saw previously, he has the lowest water resistance, so he's the one that is most vulnerable to that attack specifically. Let's keep on Runic Rhapsodying. And Solar, I think the Spirit Craft seems like it was working pretty well here. And of course, it does give a range of Spirit, or can give within a range of Spirit, and 8 is the maximum, so to get 7 is quite good. I believe we dealt about 900, a little over 900 damage with the previous Razor Leaf. What do we see this time with additional support? Ooh, significantly less. Okay, so maybe Gloria's attacks just have fairly large range. We might have gotten a little bit lucky in the previous turn. Mardek, let's put on the physical shield on Elwian. And next time, you're probably going to have to heal yourself. Otherwise, yeah, you're in a bit of a tough spot here. Still only 144 damage. It's not a ton. You can definitely heal more than that in a single turn, far more than that in a single turn. But it will start to add up. It is already starting to add up. So yes, let's continue to boost Elwian, although I think we got a little bit of a false positive the first time that we did this. There's the maximum, plus 8. So if we look at Elwian here, we see that she's all the way up to 42 Spirit. So I'm curious as to what would happen if, say, we had opted to do that with Gloria instead. There, we're back up to the 900s in terms of damage. Maybe next turn we opt to boost Gloria instead. I think we do heal this time around. Technically, Mardek is almost the only person who needs it. It might, in fact, be better to deliberately focus on just healing Mardek, because it will mean that we heal more on him, and whoa! Okay, physical attack fortunately misses against Elwian. We did put up the shield on her, but based on how much damage the Serpent dealt to Gloria that previous time, still not sure that would have been enough to keep Elwian alive if it had hit. Let's boost Gloria directly this time. See how much of a difference that makes in. Solar is nailing it with all these Spirit Crafts, getting only the highest of rolls, so how much of a difference does this make now? Yes, that's a fair bit more that time. Again, small sample size, hard to say for certain, but it seemed like it's worthwhile. We could opt to throw on regen as well, or maybe even a magic shield specifically on Mardek, because he's the most vulnerable to those tsunamis. Let's try that. And right now there is a tsunami, and yes, it does of course have the amount of damage that he takes. So now I think he should be almost fine taking those. In fact, if we were to put on a regen now, I think he would be out-regenning it every turn. So I'm thinking that's probably the way to go. Let's continue to boost Gloria, because I think that is the way to go. And another 7 this time? Solar, you are absolutely rocking it right now. This time, yep, that seems like that is doing way more to boost Gloria's damage. So Mardek, why don't we regen on you? We're playing it patiently here, but it seems like we've been dealing some consistent damage each turn. The poison has definitely started to stack up. As you can see, getting that early was big. And Gloria, as her damage continues to get higher and higher, it might even be that this time, she might be able to take this guy out. Solara has mastered Spiritcraft already, and that was only a 6 boost that time, but even that's not bad. Will that be enough? Yes, it will be. Everyone levels up. Serpent down. Was a little worried at the beginning there. It looked like it was going to be a bit of a tricky fight, and it certainly was, but I think ultimately we were able to set up the way we wanted to set up our party. And therefore, we found ourselves successful. Spiritcraft and also magic damage minus 20%, magic defensive reaction on Gloria. That's good to see too. See ya, Serpent. Nice knowing you. Okay, and with that, I think this is probably a good place for us to wrap up here because we defeated the Serpent, and that Serpent Crest was also an item that we needed for a quest. Let's double check as to which one it was. It was either that we needed this for the potion to breathe underwater, or it might have even been for the recipe to the necromantic ritual to, bind the soul to the metal man. This regal head crest is from some kind of immense sea serpent. They're quite rare and contain a lot of magical energy. Let's just double check from a quest standpoint. Is it the Shaman's Brew that needs that? It is. Okay, so it is breathing underwater for which we will need to have that Serpent Crest. So we do have it now. That's big. In fact, I think at this point, we have the Water Essence, we have the Fish Scales, we have Pixie Dust, Serpent Crest, and Aquamarine. We now have every ingredient for the Shaman's Brew. So we could go back over to the Northern Continent and complete this quest here, get the ability to breathe underwater and check out Lake Quir. That is definitely going to be on our list. There might still be 1 or 2 other things that we want to do in the Southern Continent before we head back up north, though. So with that, I'm going to leave off here, and we'll check all that stuff out next time.